Old immigration started in 1830 and continued through 1890. Most immigrants came from Western and Northern Europe, including Germany, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and Ireland. A common reason for immigrants to come to America was to have a political voice, even though often upon arrival they realized that was not often the case. Along with political expression, other factors pulling immigrants to the U.S. were economically related as well as religious freedom. Immigrants were known as opportunity seekers and they primarily became farmers. The Irish immigrants had an additional reason, that being the potato famine in Ireland. Many Chinese immigrants came in through Angel Island on the west coast, and on the east coast, Ellis Island was a popular point of entrance for European immigrants. The early opposition of the immigrants was known as the Salad Bowl. Immigrants somewhat blended into society, but many immigrants clumped together, separating from the Americans. So, for the purpose of the salad bowl theory, the Americans would be the lettuce, whereas the immigrants would be the cucumbers, croutons, tomato, and the extra stuff in a salad. Immigrants impacted the United States in several positive ways. The Irish primarily constructed railroads, and the Germans increased farming and education. New immigration started in 1890 and continued through 1914. Immigrants came in large numbers primarily from South and Eastern China. Immigrants also came from Italy, Greece, Austria-Hungary, Russia, and Poland. The reasons for migration were mostly poverty in Italy and Greece. Many Jews also fled in fear of persecution. Austrians and Russians fled heavy taxes and military draft services. A challenge immigrants faced was fitting in. Americans did not typically like the immigrants. They felt like with the frontier closed, there was no space for immigrants, and jobs were competitive. Immigrants were uneducated and refused to assimilate or adopt to the American ways, and this was the main conflict. The nativists did not like the immigrants, and the nativists blamed crime and poverty on them. The Know Nothing Party was created by the nativists. This party was very anti-immigration. The Chinese Immigration Act of 1882, also known as Yellow Perils, made the first significant law restricting U.S. immigration. It was signed by President Chester Arthur on May 6, 1882. It stopped Chinese immigration for 10 years and prevented Chinese from becoming U.S. citizens. It was repealed then in 1943, and it foreshadowed the National Origins Act of 1929. The National Origins Act of 1929 stated that overall immigration in the U.S. was limited to 15,000 per year, and it banned all Asian immigration. The National Origins Act of 1929 set quotas, and a quota is a fixed percentage of a minority group. This act discriminated against Southern and Eastern Europeans. It stayed in effect until the 1960s. In modern immigration, the developed countries, such as the United States, have a theory called